It's enough rising. It's enough rising.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Green Live Stream. My name is Edie Rondell. I'm here with my wonderful co-host, Mr. Scott Free. How's it going, Scott?
Doing good. Hey, everybody.
I'd like to welcome Wissam Charafeddine. Hopefully I got that a little right. Welcome to the show. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Adi and Scott.
So a little bit about you. You're an Arab American thinker, activist, entrepreneur, educator, and engineer. That's a whole lot. You currently are in Dearborne, Michigan, and you're also a published poet and a musician. Wow.
There you go. All right.
So, there's so much going on. It's kind of hard to know where to start, but you got involved, as I did, in 2023 because of the genocide, and you found that the Green Party was kind of the place to be. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. Yeah. First of all, it's a pleasure to be here, and thank you for all that you do. Since I've reached the age of voting, the first thing I did is I went and I researched. I was excited about that actually because my teenage years or before that, I grew up in a country in the Middle East and the United Arab Emirates, namely. And as you know, United Arab Emirates is a monarchy. There is no elections whatsoever from the lowest levels of local government to the highest level. Everything is by appointment, and we're not even involved in. People are not involved at all in the government, and it's a very strict monarchy. The freedom of expression is restricted. And the freedom of assembly, the freedom of political work is occurring. Actually, any kind of assembly, you need some sort of licensing for it. You cannot assemble. Even if I want to have a regular assembly to do tutoring with my friends, if it gets to a certain number, it will be suspicious for the authorities that I will need some sort of licensing or authorization. So, I left. I was a child when I left, and I'm not sure if things are different on a daily basis now there. So, I'm just reflecting on my childhood. So when we finally reached the United States, where my mother's family has been here in Michigan since 1894, very, very old family. My great grandfather is a World War I veteran, and they're very well established, and they succeeded in convincing my mom to finally immigrate to the United States. I really was excited about this freedom. I was excited about the notion that I can issue a newspaper with no restrictions, with no licensing whatsoever. I say these things because some people take it for granted.
Yes.
And some people are selectively suppressed.
Yes.
And some people are selectively illiterate. So when I got to the age of voting, I was very excited about voting. So I went and I researched. I couldn't find many parties. So I found the Green Party, and I found that its values matched my values. So I started voting Green Party. Straightforward since then.
Wow.
I think the only exception was when Obama ran the first time. He has harvested a lot of hope that did not come to fruition much. But
he's a good salesman.
Yeah.
But I voted for Obama.
Yep.
But during the last, we're living. I haven't really imagined that humanity will live such a regression. I actually wrote a book called The Universal Declaration of Human Values. It started in a project I started in about 2017, and the publication date was on October 10, of 2023.
Oh,
And
God.
and I canceled all book signing and all because it felt like, so the book was about, first I have to tell you about the book. The book was basically summarizing the progress of our civilization in terms of building our values. Since all the religious texts and then all the civil text and the Magna Carta and the towards the Declaration of Independence, and then the French Revolution, all the way to the Human Rights Declaration, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights by the United Nations, and then all the agreements and Geneva Convention, and then the finally the Paris Accord. So kind of like summarized all these and 20 points that humanity has agreed on them as common values. And the book was about that. But publishing it amidst a genocide that has just started was disappointing. I thought if I'm going to do book signing, it will be ironic, if any. So
Oh my God.
Well, it's been a constant
God.
like struggle of a certain group of people do those things and another group of people do genocide. So we're constantly doing this,
Exactly. And this is a waking point for me. I didn't know. I thought that progression happens ascendingly.
Yeah.
I didn't know that it is always emphasizing these values that are not taken for granted, that killing children is still debatable. So
How can that be, right?
yeah.
Americans like to say 2 steps forward, 1 step back.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've heard that one.
Yeah. So since then, I really couldn't imagine that something like this will happen again. I am a person who visits the Holocaust Museum on a regular basis. I organize visits to the Holocaust Museum. I make sure that people are aware of what humanity is capable of as far as evil, and to have that happening in front of our eyes, it's something that I couldn't imagine we're going to get to that point in history, and we're going to live it. So it's natural, like how can you not, right? How can you watch this and not do something about it? I just don't understand pacifism in such an environment. So I became active, and I consider myself very lucky to be among a group of people who are like-minded, a political party, an established political party that we know how difficult this is, to establish a party and to maintain it amidst a duopoly. So to have that party standing with its values, no matter what the political price is, it was very easy for me to join. I love to be a follower. It's much easier than being a leader. And if there's a party raising the flag of protecting these values, all you have to do is join it and fight with it.
Right. Absolutely. No, it has been a real shock, like you said, for us to witness this, on our phones in real time. We all grew up learning about the Holocaust, and here it is happening in our face. And then we learn, that, okay, Israel's doing this horrible thing. Oh, wait a second. No, the US is funding it, is doing the intelligence, is doing we are completely orchestrating the entire thing. They try to separate it, but the reality is it's us. And then it's the Democratic Party who started it, now the Republicans in control are continuing it. But it's just, and to me, it's so shocking to me. And like you said, the levels. So now we're going through a process where, they just had a little primary in New York, and everybody's like normalizing the Democratic Party. I feel like it's my life goal to remind people the Democrats started the genocide. And people realize that what our political parties, it isn't just the Democrats, obviously, what our political parties have been doing, what our politicians have been doing. I, I, it was such an emotional break for me. I felt like I had to leave all of my previous friends, and because they just seemed to be on this board of like thinking things are okay and thinking that, everything's fine. No, everything's not fine. And
Right.
of course, it continues to this day, right?
Yeah, it is shocking. I don't understand, although I try not to judge and I try to be understanding, but me personally, I cannot imagine being part of a party who's in majority. They are a continuous orchestrator of genocide.
Yeah.
That's the least we can describe this to be.
Right.
From the first vote, I remember it was very early on, and when the death toll of civilians started to skyrocket, there was the first vote for ceasefire in the in Congress. 100 out of 100 senators voted no, including Bernie Sanders.
Yeah.
And from the House of Representatives, I think there was only about 7 who voted yes for it, and the rest voted no. And I spoke at that time. I created a video clip saying, how can you vote and you know that your vote directly is causing children to be murdered at the night, and you go and you sleep? Like, how can you do that? Like, I understand abstaining, I understand withdrawing, I understand resigning, but I don't understand voting.
Yeah.
When there's blood on the vote.
Yeah.
For me, I am extreme pacifist. I feel that the existence of a bullet is a shame on humanity. That whatever mistakes have been done before in the path humanity has chosen to create states and state conflicts, and whatever we have come out of that pre-civilization, this should be history now. We've learned from these mistakes. We've had 2 world wars that have burnt our humanity. We should be way beyond that, and yet we still are regurgitate that state of mind in a very barbaric way. So, but for it to be at the level that was being done, soldiers themselves broadcasting their own genocide on social media, and the world is silent about it. I think the world has changed forever.
Yeah, it was a dehumanization right on your phone. I know when when it started, for a month I cried, I think. And then I got mad. And I went to DC twice, once in November and once in January. And then I'm like, okay, I protested. I attend the local protests here, but we need to do more because our politicians know what we want, know how we think, and still do the opposite. So I had a little bit of a flashback when Trump bombed Iran. And my heart just sunk because I'm like, please don't let this happen there too. I was terrified for them. And, and I think the people that aren't connecting with it, they don't understand, maybe they can't see all the steps, but this will hurt us in the end as well. I mean, it is a destruction of your own humanity to not, I mean, I know people care, but to not fight for them in whatever way that you can. People are going to talk about this time and say, what were you doing while this was happening? And they also don't understand attacking Iran. Iran can close the Strait of Hormuz and raise our gas prices and cut off our groceries. And we're messing with China. We don't produce things here. There's just so much that people don't have a clue about. And I feel like I can see all the steps, but I'm trying to explain it to as many people as possible.
Yeah.
Right, and it's all unnecessary. It's all based on unnecessary, motivated by many of it by religious extremism on all sides, and has no benefit for the people, and has no common sense. It's almost dogmatic, the way it is being done. We know that there is no winning in that, and utter destruction. And like you said, if I am paying, as a taxpayer, if I'm funding a genocide, I don't have the luxury of being passive or silent, because I'm already forced to be actively engaged in funding the genocide. Yes, if you want to be outside the system and not pay taxes, maybe you'll have that option. But if you're paying taxes, then you're already active. So you have to, and to tell you the truth, I retroactively was disappointed in myself and in our environment. How come we didn't take political activism more seriously? And things happened before. They weren't to this extent, but things happened before. But when you let things go and there's no correction, there is no accountability, things don't get better. So that's also a lesson for us, moving forward.
Yes.
I think one thing that I've really learned in this process is, when they talk about the evils of capitalism, and you can see how, that sounds like communist theory or something. But then you see, oh yeah, actually, this process, just aside from the religious extremism aspect of it, are two industries who make profit off war. And the first is obviously the Boeings and, all of the military companies. And then the second are the BlackRocks, who go into these countries to rebuild them and privatize and take them over. And you realize there's a segment that is just doing this stuff because of the greed, the human greed of capitalism. And so they actually don't even care about these issues. Those are just the means by which they can profit. And so it's horrific, all of the different aspects that will feed into this, because we're allowing it to happen, because people have not united and haven't fought back in whichever way, revolutionary or, in the ballot box. We have to unite to stop this. We have to.
Right.
And revolution is not necessarily violent. Revolution can be political. Yeah, just putting that in there. Go ahead.
Yes, and actually, that's why I am. I don't know if you know that, but I am also running for the steering committee of the Green Party in the next elections. And the reason for that is that this is part of my revolution. Right, it is in getting engaged in the political process and putting myself out there. Whatever I can contribute, whatever I can offer, whatever I can do to help move forward our humanity, and the party that's representing our humanity, and the existential threats that loom over us every day. We just got out of the nuclear existential threat that we were so close to it. We're still close to it historically. And the climate crisis, this is record heat right now that is hitting the Midwest, and already the National Weather Association is saying that the rates are dangerous on human life. And this is just the beginning of it. We have been ignoring the climate crisis because of all the other crises that taking place. So we have two existential threats and a huge number of issues that affect our daily life, and yet this is the only hope I see moving forward, is the Green Party, because it's the only party that is not bought and in the pockets of big companies and corporations and lobbies, and it's has proven that it will stick to its value no matter what. And I feel it's representative of a larger portion of the population. If it reaches them, it just needs some education, it needs some branding, it needs some marketing. So whatever we can do in the steering committee that we can push this forward. I'll give you an example. Dearborn, you mentioned that,
Yes, I was going to ask you because you were very successful in Dearborn. Jill almost took East Dearborn by 30 votes or something, I heard. Is that true?
Well, she had more voters than Kamala Harris in Dearborn, about 22%, according to the statistics from the city clerk. Trump, unfortunately, got a larger portion. Trump visited Dearborn 3 times during the last stage of elections, and he did not leave a promise until he threw it at the people, from stopping war to this and that. And there was a lot of, money and agendas that has been thrown. And, unfortunately, some people have listened and believed him. He said he's going to stop the war in Gaza. He said that he's going to stop the war in Lebanon. He said.
Right.
Israel is attacking Lebanon last time I looked.
Oh, yeah.
Every day on daily basis.
They broke the ceasefire again.
Well, and one of the things I found amazing about that campaign is that Kamala wouldn't even do any of that. She wouldn't make a single promise. It's like the Zionism has such control over them that they wouldn't even throw a bone. I mean, it was shocking and amazing to watch.
It was ridiculous.
Come on, politicians, you lie all the time. Trump lied.
She wouldn't even lie about it.
I know.
I think it was so humiliating, especially to the people, and especially to the people as part of our community who were sticking to the Democratic Party to the last breath.
Yes.
They, created the uncommitted. What are you uncommitting about? People are committing genocide. What? There's no thank you. I remember Osama Siblani, the publisher of the Arab American News, telling one of the news anchors, asking them, "Is there a way for you to reconciliate with Biden at that time?" They said, "Yeah, if he becomes better than Jesus and brings all these kids back to life, then maybe we can reconcile."
I know.
I mean, so there was, for me, it was there was no light at the end of the tunnel of the Democratic Party, but they stuck to this. They did the uncommitted. They proved there was over 110,000 votes uncommitted in the Democratic primary in Michigan. And then they did, to their last breath, they're trying to negotiate something, have some sort of like you said, Scott, even if lies, just have something that we can sell it to the people. And I remember the delegates, the pro-Palestinian delegates in the Democratic Party, who were prevented from entering into the DNC, the convention, and they sat outside on the ground, one of them crying. And I thought, this is what more humiliation you want than that?
Right.
I just don't understand. I've been in debates with various community members who were still stuck. But the point is that 400 people voted for the Green Party in 2020, and over 11,000 voted in 2024.
Yes.
22%. The whole thing changed. Dr. Jill Stein now is known for the whole community. The Green Party, which was a total, nobody knows what do you mean by the Green Party. Now everyone knows the Green Party, and that was a huge step and something to build on.
Yes.
That's why we kept the momentum going. And we thought one of the best ways to do that is probably through a caucus that speaks to the Arab Americans, speak to the Muslim Americans. And we started also working on that. And we are almost done with the accreditation process. We have over 100 members. We have 19 states. Only 15 are required. We already have 19 chapters. And bylaws have been
Do you have
we're
one in
working-
Illinois? Have you
Yes.
started?
Yes, they did
Okay.
it. Yes.
They haven't connected with us yet. I don't
Yes,
know.
yes. There.
So you'll have to hook us up.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, and once it's on the platform of the Green Party, everyone will know it, and they'll have
Okay.
access to it.
Okay. Well, maybe you can connect us with the organizers. I'd love to meet them.
For sure, yeah, I will add you to the group.
Yeah.
So this is one of the exciting things, but that's what we're like. The purpose of the caucus is we have three goals: is one, to activate the Arab American and Muslim American community to engage in the political process through the Green Party, because we find it to be the one that's speaking mostly to their issues, desires, aspirations, needs, fears, and no party will match. If each person wants to find a party that matches their own criteria as 100%, we will have as many parties as the population.
Yes.
So,
yes.
But we find what best can represent us, and we feel that the Green Party best represents our community, and second, to get them to be empowered in the Green Party. So run in your Green Party, be active member of it, strengthen the Green Party, recruit for the Green Party, run for the state steering committee and the various committees, run for national, be empowered within the Green Party. So the Green Party can get more and more diverse, more and more stronger and rich with this diversity. And third is run for office.
Yes.
How come the city of Dearborne, for example, that voted almost 23% for Dr. Jill Stein for Green Party, and about 14 or 17%, I can't remember anymore, for the Democrats, have a city council that is totally made of Democrat-leaning people.
Right.
And a Democrat
That doesn't
mayor.
add up.
It doesn't add up. So we're now, it's a different, now it's a process of educating and empowering. The elections showed us that the people are there. They just need to be informed. The first rally we had in Dearborn, it was in February 2024. Barely any people showed up. I think about 50 people showed up. By the end of the year, by the end of October, we could not get Dr. Jill Stein in the building because of the people trying to take pictures with her. We had to bring security. And
Wow.
so things have, because people were educated, people got to know that there is someone who's speaking for them, someone who feels their pain, someone who has their humanity and shares their humanity and shares their values, and is not blinded by whatever it is, whether it is misinformation or biases, or the bubbles that we live in today with the current media blackouts that we live in.
I was going to say, I feel that the pushback that we get, that people are afraid of changing. They have been with the Democratic Party for so long, and they're still hanging on to hope. But I mean, you gotta see them for who they are. They are not the Democratic Party from before. They have changed. Bill Clinton did that, and they have just taken a slide to the right since then. And people are afraid of the change. They think that they can win, but I don't know what winning means if you can do nothing with it.
Right.
If Greens win, trust me, we will change some things.
Well, and what I love about Dearborn is that you succeeded in the two places where the Green Party struggles, and that's just familiarity and success, right? You did both in Dearborn. So you showed that it is possible. The Green Party can both become popular and be successful. She had the most votes. She beat Kamala, right, in Dearborn. So it is possible. It is doable, and that's that's our main battle. those are our main two battles, is, for people to become familiar with us.
Exactly.
And, yep. And what I love, and I understand that that's the presidential campaign. That's where most people get involved in politics. And so, I mean, I say this a lot, that, Jill, she understood what her purpose was, because if people don't know the little history of that election, it started with Cornel West running as a Green and then backing out, and Jill was his campaign manager. And so it was pretty last minute. She knew she had to do this, and she also knew what it meant. And what it meant was, because of her principles and because of the stance she took, that she could help build the Green Party itself. And that's the important part of, I mean, one of the very important parts of what she did was, we are here. Edie and I are here, certainly. I was very peripheral to the Green Party for many years. Now I'm a co-chair of Illinois. And Edie's going to run for lieutenant governor. So like you said, not just be the Green Party, but go for it, right?
Right, definitely.
Once I'm in, I'm all in.
Yeah.
And that's the attitude we want to educate people about, that it's really, politics doesn't have to be dirty. You can do politics your own way, protecting you with your values. Look at the platform of the Green Party. The platform of the Green Party was very exciting for me. I wish we could have summarized it in, I mean, I know we have the 10 values and the keys, but we just need to find a way to deliver this to the people. And you know what happened today, or yesterday, by Zohran Mamdani winning. Zohran Mamdani is the extreme left of the Democratic Party. He's an anti-establishment of the Democratic Party. The Democrats, the official Democrats, were standing against him in New York, including New York Times, and even the interview with Stephen Colbert was a little bit, negative. I would say it was not really balanced, and yet the people have spoken. They've broken taboos. So many taboos with this elections, and they've broken so many notions. They've broken the taboo of a Muslim official. We have in Dearborn, we have Mayor Abdullah Hamoud. Abdullah Hamoud, he did not endorse, Biden and Harris, and he stood firm and called Dearborn the city of resistance, and was a very well-spoken on behalf of the people, but unfortunately did not match his party's conditions and stances. And it was embarrassing. It's embarrassing for every Democrat, because how can you invite 4 Democrats again after all this disappointment and blood? They're literally were bombing the families of the people of Dearborn.
Yep.
Dearborn had funerals on weekly basis that the mayor had to attend, that was committed directly. 60% of the war is funded by the United States directly. It was directly funded by the Democrats. They were authorizing bombs that on weekly basis, and these bombs are causing these funerals to take place. So what an embarrassing position to be in. Anyway, I forgot where I was.
No, that's a great point.
And also, the Zohran issue, it's like, I get the energy and excitement, and yes, it is very important to have Muslim representation in government. I mean, it's just a primary, but again, he's in the genocide party, and that's in itself, it's painful. It's painful to watch, and also, I like to think about the organizing that went underneath his campaign. And I was watching Instagram, and he had the best Instagram videos. I mean, it was brilliant stuff. And it was DSA backed, but that's kind of okay. They're pretty big in New York, but like the Green Party could have been there, maybe some smaller numbers, but that same grassroots stuff could have been happening. And then at the point that the grassroots campaign becomes a victory, if it were the Green Party, it'd be all in. But this is just day one of his battle. And it's only going to get worse, and it's never going to end. He's in the Democratic Party. the genocide party. His battle will never end. And it's just at what point do they break him, or at what point does he sell out? Those are his two options in that party. And we look at every single politician. You know, you think of Dennis Kucinich. I mean, he fought and fought and fought until the Democrats destroyed him, right? And or someone like
gerrymandered
Bernie,
him out of his district.
right, or
AOC.
Bernie.
AOC and Bernie, who are just the ultimate sellouts. I mean, just the
Yeah.
ultimate lying sellouts, right?
Bernie broke my heart.
Yeah,
I
and
worked really hard for him.
and yeah, so it goes. You know, I wouldn't even start it at Clinton. I mean, it goes back decades and decades.
Oh, that was like
Yeah, I
big
mean,
jump.
sure.
In
Sure.
general, Scott, even more general than that, I mean, it is, even if the Democratic Party was better than it is, we still cannot have only two-party system. That is undermining all the democratic process. Why would France have 137 parties and it is as big as Illinois, and we have two parties? It's just ridiculous to lump people into such parties, and both parties agree on taking campaign finance and super PACs and money from lobbyists. So both of them are aligned, and the differences are cosmetic at this point for me. Really, it's small ideological differences that are cosmetic. They're not creating any real change between the two parties.
No.
Like Jill used to say, they are both the parties of war and Wall Street.
Exactly.
Right. And they just do performative theater to trick people. But, you know, again, the propaganda is astounding. I'll watch see someone on Facebook who puts something critical of the Democratic Party. And it's a super progressive left person. And they'll say, what, you voted for Trump? And
They can't get out of that thing.
They can't understand that there's something outside of the two, that it won't even go into their brains. I get attacked all the time because, they accuse me of helping the Republicans because I said something bad about Kamala Harris. I mean, their brains are so propagandized.
Yeah, one of the biggest ironies is that 63% of the population is disappointed in the two-party system. How can a majority be powerless?
Right.
It's just inside their head.
Right.
So Zohran, he destroyed the Muslim taboo in politics, the socialist taboo in politics.
Mm-hmm.
Someone told me today, socialism is not compatible with the Constitution. I told him that's not true. There's types of socialism, and there is a way to implement and define socialism. I think the way capitalism is being defined and implemented today is not compatible.
That's what I was thinking.
There you go. I of course, I was on Twitter to watch the whole reaction to this, and it was so great. Somebody was insulting him by calling him a Muslim Ugandan communist because he's from Uganda originally.
He's like, okay.
And I know, and I'm like, and that's an insult? Like, come on. That sounds pretty cool to me.
Well, one thing that I did want to talk about a little bit. So after all that happened, I had 4 people text me. It was on Democracy Now! And Yahoo and everywhere. I'm like, okay, I'm going to do the wait and see. I'm not going to celebrate yet because you're right, Scott. Either they will convince you to sell out at some point, or they will find a way to remove you, and that's the Democratic Party. Right. I wish him well. I hope he does well.
Yeah.
I just have serious doubts, and I am not ready to celebrate this win quite yet. However, I was going to say that 128 Democrats voted against impeaching Trump.
Right. I saw that.
So there you
go. For his bombing Iran. I think that was the and the 128 voted against. Again,
for high crimes and misdemeanors. They voted to table it. They're going to put it off.
Why do they cling to a party where they can maybe find one person on their side or 2 people on their side? Yeah. Why do they cling to the party that is 95% against everything they stand for?
Yeah. So I've developed an attitude, instead of focusing on being bewildered by the support of Democrats. And we are beyond bewilderment in terms of support of Republicans. I thought let's focus on our party.
Yes.
And we even developed the attitude of, in Dearborn, that we will work with anyone on the common values. So we even had a meeting with the Progressive Democrats caucus,
Okay.
just to exchange thoughts and exchange, that we agree on so many things. I think the way I see it is I'm very hopeful for the Green Party, and I say this for three reasons that are unstoppable. The first reason is by 2030, the majority of voters in the United States will be the Z generation. Generation Z, as you know, is educated by social media. They are, in general, stats show that they are predominantly pro-Palestine. They are clear visioned in terms of the disadvantages they have with the establishment. They are prone to dislike the establishment. They are pro-change. They are pro-diversity. They are pro-globalism and international cooperation. They are more in tune with the human rights, with climate crisis, etc. So that is an absolutely something that we cannot change. It's moving forward. This generation will be the majority of voters, and it will only get better from there. Second is that there are models today where the Green Party is stronger and more representative, and the government in general, because there are some parties in some countries that are more advanced than the Green Party in some of the platforms that they namely, for example, Scandinavian countries. Scandinavian countries have a very strong Green parties. They have very strong Green Party inclinations. Even other parties share many values with the Green parties. And we see them on the top of the list of the happiness index, of the education, of healthcare, of the quality of life. Even traveling, I was in a conference in Oslo last September, and it's just, the people's concern over there was, how can we make the buses more bike friendly so people can take their bikes through buses from one place to another? So you feel that they are living our dreams, the dreams that we dream about here, or we dare to dream. We can't even sometimes dream of a bike lane. But they're living already that comfort and that happiness. So these countries, as we the world is becoming a small village, we are learning from the younger people are more traveling more. They're getting engaged more with the international community, and we're going to rub on each other these things. We're going to see these things. These are going to affect us, and it is on my agenda to present to the steering committee is more relationship with these kind of Green Party, and learning and exchanging ideas and coordination with them. And the third thing that makes me hopeful is that the demographics of the United States is changing. By 2040, we are no longer a white majority country. By 2045, the Latino language might be the almost at the level of it will be like a majority minority, the Latino community. So the demographics of the United States are changing, and it will bring with it political change. And I think we have what we're doing in the Green Party right now is establishing as much as we can, and we need to recruit for that, establishing the infrastructure for this newer generation to feel belonging, to feel something that they can build and take over. We might not see the full fruits in our lifetime, but we are playing a very, very important part, just like the people before us. I mean, just getting on the ballot of most of the states. I cannot thank the people who worked on that, and I know how hard it is.
Yes.
So, they've done that, and we owe them a lot. Any success that comes from the Green Party owes it to these people who have worked so hard to put our name on the ballot, and so are the next generation. We owe them establishing this infrastructure that they can work through.
You know, one comment I wanted to make about what you said earlier, and I do agree, and we try to, push left unity and working with other people. But the other thing that we have to be careful of is infiltration and folks out there to destroy the Green Party. And there's no doubt, again, we talked about, the Democratic Party is the genocide party. It's also the party that, for the most part, we see, we're in Illinois, a blue state, that they are actively and have been actively trying to destroy the Green Party. And they do it certainly in their in election times. And, you've heard all the stories of the different states and the nightmares they had to go through finding the Democratic Party. And then the other thing is, again, I think it's important to build relationships with people, and people on an individual level are fantastic. But like in the Illinois Green Party, we will not endorse a candidate who's in a different party. We won't go that far. Because again, I think that we have to be concerned about infiltration and those who have an agenda to destroy us. And so I think we have to be careful there. And I think the other thing that you had said is just, the urgency of the climate situation is another thing that I think has to push the Green Party forward. Because like you said, I mean, we see it every single day now. Now the climate change is happening to us on a daily basis, and there are deaths every day. I mean, it doesn't make the news. It's so common now. The deaths that go on is just, and that's what I wanted to talk about. I look at statistics around deaths from weather related in America, and the other ones, the tornadoes, the hurricanes, those stay pretty random because of what, the randomness of those things. But the one thing that is just shooting up is heat deaths. I mean, that is exploding. And you are right. Every summer it is, the heat deaths are going there. They are accelerating each year. So I think, go ahead.
I was going to just say, I want to thank you for reminding me it's all about building the Green Party.
Yes.
I have been just confronted with the Democrats today, and that's probably why my mood has been a little off. It was hard to come here today because I was just like, can we just not?
Well, it's so conflicting because it is fantastic.
Well, no, because
they have
friends will text me and they're happy and I'm not. And so I got to burst their bubble. So I've been like the rainy cloud today. But this has made me feel better. So I just wanted to personally thank you for making
actually, yeah. I mean, the things that you've been saying are so inspirational, Wissam. I wish, and I need to learn. I am slowly learning to be more positive. It is true. Like, especially when this show started, I was the most negative person. And then I have seen people who have been Democrats their whole lives, and I can see them changing, and I can see them questioning it, and on an individual basis, whereas I wasn't even thinking that could possibly happen. And of course, who am I? I was one of those people. I voted for Obama too. I was like, so into Obama.
Every Democrat that you meet, he's either a future Green Party member or a parent of, parent or an uncle of future Green Party.
Okay.
So, it's a compassionate way to look at it. And I think it is only a matter of misinformation. And there is a percentage of actually like self-serving or, selfishness. But it is getting more and more obvious. I mean, the Democratic Party in the last elections, or the last 4 years, it was ridiculous. Their stance was totally ridiculous. Like Scott said, they didn't even use diplomatic language. It was ridiculous. When Harris came and she spoke at the airport, there were few pro-Palestinian protesters in the crowd, young people who shouted "Free Palestine" or "Ceasefire now," And you remember that clip where she told them, if you want Trump to win, keep saying that.
Yeah.
Like, she hasn't even heard the word genocide, or she hasn't even, like, it didn't filter through. The only thing that came through is the effect, the influence on the elections for her. Like, it's totally dehumanizing the struggle that is taking place. I tell, we were discussing with few friends the other day, she said, like, silence, because I posted that silence is genocide at this point.
Right.
And, some people have jobs, some people have, various things. And I told my friends, I don't know. I told them, I can understand special circumstances if it wasn't a genocide.
Mhm.
Like, would you forgive silence during the Holocaust now? Like, it is silence that caused the world to have such a horrific incident, and silence today has caused also where we have come to be. I mean, look at the two countries in the Middle East who stood against genocide. Only two countries that Israel and the Western colonial forces were not able to silence: Iran and Yemen.
Yemen.
And these two countries could not be beaten by all this technology and all this brute force. Imagine one more country. Israel depleted its dome by 65%, or the effectiveness came down to 65%
Yes.
during the last week. They could not last without the American support.
Yeah.
And you're talking about a country that was opposing it, that's under extreme sanctions. They cannot obtain most of the technology. They cannot move any kind of money. People are suffering under these sanctions for the last decades. A country that has no soldiers outside its territory without permission of the government.
Right.
And they have not attacked. They don't even have any, bad relationships with other countries. It's a myth that Iran is a threat on other countries at a diplomatic level, because diplomatically they are in a good relationship with Saudi Arabia and Qatar and UAE and all the other countries. They have no diplomatic tensions between them.
Yeah. I saw a meme.
I was going to say the monarchies are the ones that are serving us. That's the problem. I think I heard Jeffrey Sachs talking today on Breaking Points, discussing that. It's like they have to give fealty to the United States because the United States can break them. And that's why there's bases surrounding Iran right now.
Yeah.
And
there was a meme that showed the countries that we bombed versus the countries that Iran bombed. They had 0. We had 100. I mean, it's not even a comparison. And it is kind of strange to talk about this being hopeful, but I mean, one of the things that has been so positive, even though again, it's bombs, is just to see Israelis fleeing because of the first time that they've been hit. And it shows that they're not that tied to that land that they say is the promised land. They are out. And that's the thing, that so many of them have dual passports. And so it isn't that big of a deal for them to leave. And so they're leaving. And I think, to me, that's the hope, is that hopefully that enough will leave that that country will collapse economically.
Well, that's true.
I was just going to say, I don't wish anyone harm.
No,
but it's about time that they understood that they're not untouchable. They can't.
It's true that there's a percentage that you're talking about, Scott. That's true to them. It's they're dual citizens. Their connection is not very deep to the country. There's others, probably they do. They have they're born there. They have religious connection to the land. Whatever, people have different religions, different thoughts, different beliefs. Both cases, you cannot continue living in such a way. You cannot live while your state is committing an apartheid. You cannot totally ignore any solution. I mean, I know that two-state solution is a joke for me, but even once we as a humanity, we cannot have ethnocentric states.
Oh God.
That's not going to work in the way humanity is moving. It's just not going to work, even if it worked with all these nuclear power and all these bombs. If you bomb your way through it for the next 50, 100 years, then what? We are becoming a small village. People, we are now so mixed, languages, everything is translatable. AI is connecting the world in a way that information is flowing very freely. I can be living in a small village in China and be totally French in my mind, have a French mindset,
Right.
speak French, love the French language, know about Paris more than Parisians. That is possible today with all the technology. So you cannot have ethnocentric states. Even the idea of the state itself will be challenged in the upcoming decades. We have to move into planetarianism, definitely.
And I want to make clear that my kind of urgency and my kind of excitement about, let's say, the economic collapse of Israel, even though that sounds horrible, is because I was looking at Palestine's existence in terms of months or maybe weeks. And so it's the panic that sets in, that how close Israel is to eliminating Palestine. I mean, it has gotten so close that's where I know it's not a positive statement to be making, but if they all leave, or a vast majority leaves and the country collapses, then the genocide will stop. There won't be people there
aid will come, and the medics will come.
Right. I mean, I know it's panic. I know, but
all the colonial projects that were done late in the 19th century, early 20th century would be considered extremely late. All these colonial projects, especially ones that are based on ethnic cleansing, failed. And just, if Israel listens to its own historians, not Jewish historians, to Israeli historians, if Israel listens to Israeli philosophers, they will, like Ellen Pape, and who's exiled now in London, and others, they will learn that it's not sustainable. It's not going to happen. No. It hasn't happened. All the Algeria failed, colonialism failed. All the African countries that were colonized by the Western, it failed. It was too late to do such a thing. It's something that the Western European colonizers succeeded in doing in the United States, for example. It was too late to be done in other parts of the world by the late 19th century, and that's a fact. And we cannot fight the tide of history. They have to realize that these people are connected to their land. There is no way for them to leave. Actually, there is a little survey about Gazans who did not want to leave Gaza. Even if the borders were open, they won't leave. So with all this, what's happening, I cannot imagine a person not fleeing. The people of Gaza have such a level of resistance and resilience.
Yeah, they absolutely do. I did see an Instagram that some aid trucks got in, not verified, but it just like, it choked me up just thinking that some of them were getting food, and I'm hoping that is a sign of the a release of the death grip that Israel has on them. But I'm also in my mind thinking, why would you want an ethno state? Why would you want to be surrounded by people like you? What can you learn from people exactly like you? That's the thing I love about living here.
Right.
I used to live in California. I got to meet so many different kinds of people. And I think that is one of our greatest strengths and one of our greatest joys.
Absolutely.
Is to meet people like you that I know nothing about. And it's been such a pleasure having you. We can learn so much from each other.
Yes, absolutely. No, that's what makes America great. It's too bad that we are having this horrific little time of deporting people because they don't, match, Trump's racial agenda. I mean, it's just it's a slap in the face, because that is what America is. The melting pot. We are the interracial country of all. I mean, we're number one, right? So
I'm going to run through some comments. We've just
Yes.
got so involved in talking. I'm so
Yes,
sorry.
please
Oh my
do.
gosh, my friend Joni's here.
All right.
So, Joe Harrington, what came first, capitalism
Oh
or
God.
greed?
Right. Oh God. Right. Well, I mean, historians will say the greed was there
Greed.
quite a long
Yeah.
time, but
They
capitalism
had to
was
invent
the
a
ultimate.
vehicle for greed, right?
Ooh, that was the ultimate. Yeah.
And then Farah Khan, sadly you are right, but our Green Party doesn't get the support we deserve. What would move people to leave both evil parties and join the GP? That's a
Yeah.
good question.
Yeah. That's what we struggle with. We do try to, one of the things I try to do is try to get people to understand the power they have in their vote.
Mm-hmm.
And I try to convince people you don't need to vote for someone because of who else the person next to you is voting for. It's a little private space that you go in. Nobody sees who you're voting for. So you can vote your conscience. You can vote the right way. People know what the right way is. Hey, Kalia. Yeah.
This is my bestie. She came one of my besties. I got two. She came all the way from California to go to DC with me in November after the genocide started.
Wow.
That was one heck of a trip. Wisdom.
Wow.
Then she says, yes, Scott, plants are sneaky. It takes constant vigilance while maintaining our empathy and building trust with all of our rank and file.
It's tricky, yeah. I mean, and we have a history, in Chicago, like with the Black Panthers and COINTELPRO. So, I mean, we've got a real history here of infiltration, and that sticks with me. I'm a, Black Panthers are important to me, actually. So,
yes,
yeah.
Silence is complicity. I agree.
Yeah.
Couple more. Go Green Party. What's up, Malik?
Yay.
What goes around comes around from Mr. Joe.
Yeah.
I think this might be the last one. Why do we have to destroy life, countries, and other ethnicities? We are killing our planet along with humanity. Wouldn't it be easier just to live with harmony, let others live, and mind our own business?
I know, right? And Wissam, you make such a good point about, that's what the Green Party is about, is humanity. That's the core of why we're here. And within that is saving the planet, obviously. Yep.
And as far as the question, how do we deliver the Green Party to people? I mean, just like it was delivered to me. I mean, I might have been a little bit more proactive about it, but with these campaigns that are taking place and that's succeeding, whether it is Mahmoud Khalil's, the rallying of people around him in such a way, and now he's out and he's continuing his movement. This Sunday I have a showing in my house of the encampment, which is
excellent.
So a whole documentary was made about this movement. Zohran Mamdani's success in New York against all odds. When he started, he was less than 1%. And you know what? Yeah, we're Green Party. We are 1% too.
Right.
Of the voters.
Right.
So just like Zohran Mamdani went from 1% to 57%, we also have a path of how did he do it? He did it, if New York is a sample of that, he did it through educating, through delivering, through a grassroots movement. He had 45,000 volunteers. They knocked on doors. They delivered the message in most modern ways. They utilized social media very well.
Yeah.
They maximized he maximized his campaign donations. He started pointing the donations to other candidates. I think, also with when Obama ran also against many odds, he also used a huge social media campaigning and modern ways of reaching to the people with something that they were looking for. And I feel that the people are looking for what we have. We just need to make them know about it. We just need to inform them about it. And today we can do this very efficiently with the technology and with the grassroots basis that we have. We have amazing grassroots potential. We just need to, mobilize it in the best way possible. And we see these models happening in front of our eyes. So it is very hopeful in that way.
And that's what we're doing here at Green Live Stream. I mean, without a doubt, we are, and we're having a great time doing it. Just promoting people throughout the Green Party across the whole United States, and just presenting folks. And I mean, again, like talking with you, we are so inspired to meet so many people and hear all of their stories and what they're doing to help the Green Party move forward. And so, yeah, I think you're right. We have to use the same techniques, and people will listen. I do think that you are right. They will.
And join the Green Party. If you see something needs to be done, figure out how to do it. Don't wait for others to do it for you.
Yes.
That has been my lesson. If you want it done, ask, how do we do this? And then if nobody else is available, just do it yourself.
There you go.
I left you a link in the chat if you can share it with your audience.
Okay.
It's basically, this is a call for all, whether you are Arab American or Muslim American or none, because we accept affiliate memberships also in the caucus that is upcoming.
Sorry.
So this is the link for you to join the Arab American and Muslim American Green Party caucus that is coming up, that is becoming official soon. And also it shows you, it basically asks you to do 4 things: to register in the Green Party, sign up in the caucus, and connect with with others through, we have WhatsApp groups, and 4, to invite others. So that's the very simple steps that actually have a huge effect. So how do you eat an elephant one bite at a time?
Yes, there you go. There you go. Yes.
Well, did you have anything to close with? We're at 8:08. So anything that you wanted to leave people with?
I just want to thank you very much for what you're doing. You're creating content that's much needed. And I hope everyone who's listening to us today, I know that we don't get much publicity. We're a grassroots movement. We are dependent on you. Every one of you really makes a difference.
Yes.
Every single one of you makes a difference. The simplest thing you can do is just register you don't know how much empowering you do just by registering in the party or in the caucus. Just registering gives a lot of power, because you're telling us that there is appeal, that there is people listening, and they agree to what they're listening to. And you're encouraging everyone who's creating content, who's working, to do more of that. So it's a feedback, and without feedback, things they start to get stagnant. So we need that as a minimum, and hopefully we'll see you in the movement.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Wissam. We really appreciate all that you're doing in Dearborn too. It's absolutely fantastic.
And tune in on Saturday at noon Central Time for our news of the week.
Yes.
See y'all then.
All right.
If you want to hang on after and chat, that's fine. If you can't, that's fine as well.
An uprising, we're rising up. It's an uprising, we're rising up. It's an uprising. Fight the power. It's an uprising. Fight the power.